Şimdi size Mom Central'ın Millennials şirketinden yönetici bir arkadaşımızı çağırıyorum, başkan yardımcısı. Megan bize yeni kuşağı anlatacak ve bizim onlara nasıl ulaşacağımızı. Welcome Megan.
Hi there. I'm Megan Maguire. I'm with Mom Central Consulting. As Pinar mentioned, I have to go through my presentation fairly quickly, so bear with me. I guess I can just get started. As a recap, we heard from Stacy earlier today and my colleagues Maria about some of the insights and the trends that we're seeing in the United States in social media marketing. And one of the key things that we're seeing today is this idea of push marketing being no longer a factor. We're seeing that advertisements that dictate the way that we want to talk about brands and the way that we want to think about brands have been taken away by social media marketing. We're now going online to connect with our friends, to connect with our families, and we also want to connect with brands online. And so as a result, what's happening is that the brands are listening. In the United States, we are about 6 or so years into a huge transformation in the social media marketing space. And what we're seeing is over time, in the very beginning, we had brands that were resistant and they were scared and they did not want to go online and they didn't want to talk to their consumers. But little by little, they saw that it was something that they had to do. And we actually saw the same thing happen in Canada about 2 years later. Canada's about 2 or 3 years into the social media marketing transformation. And so I'm going to share with you today some case studies and some examples of the successes that brands in the United States and in Canada have seen. So if you want to go a couple slides in. Oh, can I do it? How do I use this? I got it. So what we're seeing now is what's happening in Turkey. And some of these statistics we've heard talked about today. We've seen that just around 50% of the people in Turkey are connected to social media or connected online in their homes. And we know that this percentage is going to rise. And we heard Stacy mention earlier today that 400 to 500% increase in mobile usage, people using their phones and their tablets to connect online. We've seen that 400 to 500% increase over the past year, which is absolutely huge. And what's interesting about that is that we are seeing those same things happen in the United States and in Canada. So as Turkey is coming onto the social platforms, you're also embracing the same challenges and the same trends that we're seeing here in the United States and in Canada. And we're seeing in Turkey there are some huge changes in terms of how people are connecting. Many of the case studies today that we saw dealt with women going online and using Facebook. We have 32 million people in Turkey online using Facebook, 10 million on Twitter, as Stacy mentioned earlier today. It's a huge transformation from last year when not very many people were on Twitter. And then this last one, which is especially interesting, is the idea of people using these visual platforms. One of the biggest trends we're seeing in the United States is Instagram and Pinterest, and all of these very visual and creative ways to connect with brands online are really the biggest trend in social content development and connectivity. And we're seeing that same thing happen here as Turkey is one of the top 3 communities on Instagram. We've seen some great case studies today. We know that brands are paying attention in Turkey, and we know that we want to go even further in that direction. And so this is one of the great examples. I was going to share with you a story about how I discovered Turkish coffee over the past 2 days, and I have had in about 2 days 10 cups of Turkish coffee. It seems to be all that we do, and we stop along the way. We've been sightseeing, we've been shopping, and every single place we go, we have Turkish coffee. And so we wanted to use this example of all of the different platforms that there are online and ways to connect online. And the idea that you have to think about the different platforms that you're using as you think about how you're going to go online. Not all of them do the same thing. You don't need to be on all of the platforms, but you need to be where your community is. These are some of the different ways that we've seen brands successfully engage online. We believe strongly in the power of advocacy, and we believe that finding people who are highly influential and highly engaged and digitally savvy that have these developed communities, women like Pinar who have 400,000 people following them on Google+, I learned that a couple days ago, are the people that you need to connect with, and they're going to lend a powerful voice to your brand if you're able to provide them with messaging and special access to your brand and product samples and things like that, and then you're going to set them in motion to connect online. And then earlier today, we talked a little bit about the power of e-commerce reviews, the idea that if you're going to purchase a product, you're going to ask all of your friends and family about the product, and then you're going to go online. And when you go online, you're going to look at what other people have said about that product, and if they say, I don't know, it's not the right thing, you're going to retrace your steps, you're going to go back, and you're going to think about the product that you want to buy all over again. So on to a few case studies. The first one here is SoundFreak. They're a speaker company in the United States. They're not a big brand. They're much bigger brands in the United States, and they were entering the market, and they didn't have a lot of budget, they didn't have name recognition, and they weren't sure how to go about entering the market and speak to moms. And so they came to us, and what we did is we provided them with a group of 55 moms who were interested in learning more about their speaker products, and we asked them to try out the products. We provided them with samples, and then to go online and talk about what they thought was great about it. And we found that the power of these e-commerce reviews, which is the only thing that they were doing in marketing at this point, caused such a jump in the number of sales that the actual buyers at the consumer at the e-commerce company came to us, and they called us up and they said, what on earth are you guys doing? What have you done? You've sold way, way more speakers for this brand than we ever thought was possible. Here we're dealing with Polly Pocket. They're a toy brand. They make small dolls. They were really popular in the 80s and the early 90s. And then recently they relaunched their brand, and they wanted to talk to moms because they knew that the moms today were playing with those dolls when they were younger. They have a new look and feel. They have a new design. And so we provided this company with over 100 moms. We made the connection, we provided them with the samples. We asked them to take photos and videos of their children playing with the dolls, of their children interacting in their everyday lifestyle. And what they were able to do is drive engagement, and we saw over 5.6 million impressions of people just spotlighting Polly Pocket. Cheerios is an example of a brand that every mom in America knows, every mom in Canada knows. If you have a child under 2 years old, you have Cheerios in your cupboard, and they wanted to capture, in much the same way as Phillips talked earlier today, talk about the lifestyle and the emotion that's connected with having Cheerios in your home. And so they sent the product to moms and asked them to host parties, to engage with it offline, and then to bring that conversation online. So they were really able to capture the idea that Cheerios meant to moms in their everyday lives and bring that conversation online. VTech Baby Monitors is an instance where you have a company that has a high-value product and something that a very select number of moms are considering. You're looking at moms who are new parents. They're looking at every single product with a great deal of scrutiny because they know that it is that everything matters when you're a very new mom. And so we, again, sent them, we selected 5 moms, and we asked them to really engage with the product, to use it, to try it out, and then to document their experience. And just 5 moms, over the course of a number of months, were able to generate 2.1 million impressions. One of the last case studies I'm going to share is Fisher-Price, which is a well-known toy brand, of course. And what they wanted to do is develop visual content. And so in Canada, we sent them different versions of the product and have them share over time how they were using the products in their everyday lives. They were documenting it. It was all being populated and aggregated onto this really visually appealing site, so they were able to bring the brand to life. And then the final thing I will leave you with today is the idea of moms are not the only ones in this space that we are paying attention to. I know moms are what are important. We're at Mom Z. But we are dealing with a lot of other communities in this demographic or in this space, bringing brands to life online. So the idea of influence and the idea of bringing brands together, creating relationships between brands and moms so that they can drive conversation online can be transcended to millennials, it can be transcended to dads, to people, to women in the military and Latinas, which are a couple big demographics in the United States. Thank you.